Hi, I'm Taylor Phillips. I'm the conservation manager here at Lake Conestee Nature Preserve. And I haven't always thought of myself as a conservationist, more as just someone who has this obsession with needing to be outside. And I attribute that to how I grew up. I grew up on an old farm in western Pennsylvania, and when I was 1 year old, my dad designed and built our house, and he designed it without air conditioning, so our windows were always open in the summer, and the windows were huge. So I could stand at this kitchen sink and look out a window in front of me and see deer grazing in the yard. And then I could turn without moving my feet over to look over my left shoulder and look out another window and see wild turkey walking down the hill into the woods. And so it was a house that really felt like I was living outside even though I was inside. And I don't think I realized that until I was a lot older, living in different houses, and would find myself feeling claustrophobic if I was inside too long. So I felt very spoiled with that house, and we didn't have cable growing up, so the most fun thing to do was just go play outside. All of our neighbors were extended family, and so I roamed the land like I owned it, and would spend hours following deer trails or playing in the stream or sliding down muddy hillsides. And that's where I noticed our woods would sometimes grow these things that looked like octopus tentacles, and then our pine forest would grow these stinky lobster claws that made me think our forest was sick. And it wasn't until I was a lot older where I realized our forest wasn't sick, it just was growing ferns and fungus. But it was there where I just really learned to love being outside and just playing and exploring. So from that, I think a lot of my decisions were driven by how much I would be able to be outside. So when I was a junior in high school, I elected the opportunity to go to school on the coast of Maine at the Chwonky Foundation at a school called the Maine Coast Semester, because we lived in wood cabins that were heated by wood stoves, and we took traditional liberal arts classes, but it was geared towards environmental sciences. And so we spent much of our time studying the coastal ecology of Maine, which meant that we'd spend 4 to 5 hours out in the salt marsh with hip boots, just exploring for different mussels or different types of salt marsh plants. Or we'd spend the afternoon on the coast just exploring tide pools in the rocks and seeing who was living there. They had a working farm that we also got to help with in planting vegetables and harvesting vegetables. I learned how to milk a cow and process chickens that we then had for dinner. So it was a lifestyle that I learned really quickly that I really enjoyed, and it was there where I made connections with how closely everything is interconnected and how much we get from the land, and I just really enjoyed that lifestyle of getting to live more outside and just closer to the land. So when I was trying to decide where I wanted to go to college, I chose the University of New Hampshire because I could go skiing or hiking in the White Mountains every weekend. And that's what I did, and it was beautiful, and I loved every moment of being outside and getting to explore those mountains. But my freshman year, I decided to major in general biology, which I actually really hated, and I hated being in the lab and did not enjoy my biology or chemistry class. So I took a year off between freshman and sophomore year of college and did an internship with the Audubon of Western Pennsylvania at a nature preserve, where I led walks with school groups and learned how to hold a hawk and an owl on a glove and do some education programs with them. And that's when I figured out, like, that's what I really felt like I wanted to do. Get that opportunity to be outside and work closely with birds, which I had learned to really enjoy watching and identifying when I was in Maine. So I went back to University of New Hampshire and decided to major in wildlife ecology, which was so great because all of my classes were outside, and so I got to be outside and spend 4 hours just learning the different trees and shrubs and how to identify them, or learning how to set traps for mammals for research purposes. So like I said, any excuse I could find to be outside, and that major in those classes helped me do that. So when I left college, again, I was just looking for opportunities to be outside, and so I spent 2 summers in Yellowstone as a housekeeper, which wasn't a glamorous job, but I got to spend my days off exploring the national park with people from all over the world. And so through those experiences, like I said, I don't always think of myself as a conservationist, because I haven't always had the thought of how can I save the land and how can I save these animals. It's more of just like, how can I get out and enjoy them? And I've realized I've fallen into a thought pattern of kind of like, we want to do what we can to maintain our house. Outside has become kind of my second home, and so I feel really excited to be in a position where I can think about how do I take care of and maintain my second house, which is now Lake Conestee Nature Preserve. I'm very thankful to get to be here and get to do that and work with this awesome team. I tend to get really jealous of trees, because they get to stay in the same spot for decades and sometimes even centuries, and just sit and watch and see what the forest looks like in every type of light, nighttime, daytime, any type of season, rain, snow, sun. They get to watch and see which bird is nesting where and which path the fox uses every night to go find food. And so I'm thankful to get to be here in Conestee day in, day out, just because then I feel like a tree here and I get to watch what the wildlife is doing and what the plants are doing. And so yeah, I guess that's the story of how I realized that I am a conservationist. So thanks for listening.